in a world of rust and ruin stay. Through gray civilizations, dust I roam, and my wasteland soul never will be truly whole. My only remaining goal now to survive. Someday the rains will come and wash it all away. The heart of the wasteland will awaken on this day. Shattered remains of once great cities. These silent highways lead to holes.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Every horizon sees it closer now. I venture onwards into the unknown, and my calloused hands I've learned to weather and withstand.
Hello, Arte.
Hey, how you doing?
Wondering what happened to Susan.
I don't know.
Yeah, usually she gives advance notice about the tours, asking if everyone's going to be available.
Okay. Hopefully she's just like,
Yeah.
I didn't look longer than she thought.
Hello, Mirfak.
Hey, Murphy. I can't hear you, Murphy.
What was that?
I can't hear Murphy.
Oh, he's very quiet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there's Susan.
Yeah, I'm here. I heard you.
Oh, sure.
Hello. Trying to log in to Twitch. Takes a while to get the password.
My system's been running real sluggish today, so I'm in the process of rebooting.
Mm. Hello, Cave Woman, if you're listening to the stream. Let's see.
I'm still listening, but I'm going to put the microphone on mute for a few minutes.
Okay. Oh, Arte, if you don't mind, when you've got your notes on Victor completely drawn up, send them off to me so that I can update mine.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Drift on the frozen face of time. Unlikely guide, I will follow you. Stay by my side, see tomorrow through. Two roads merging in one line.
Testing 1, 2.
Hi, Zeke.
Hello.
Hey,
Yep.
I can hear you.
I think this is only the second tour where all 5 of us are actually going to be signed in.
That's right.
Let me look at something. So I will not be available, possibly, the November tour. I'm not entirely sure. It's right after in the Thanksgiving weekend type of deal.
I'm not even sure what the date is.
The fourth Sunday of November is the 26th.
Oh, okay.
Saturday, I mean.
Yeah.
No. I moved my... Oops, I want to keep that up. That on me. Almost make everything quiet.
Let's see. Caver 1, Cave Woman, Maluhia, and Randolthor. And Shiloh O'Brien just linked in. So. And we have 10 people showing on the stream window. That's almost halfway to a fairly normal level.
I get the feeling you're gonna have a lot of questions on this tour.
That'd be good if we did.
I have my own one, but I'm keeping that secret.
Is that tour you posted a week or two ago still archived, Larry?
Yeah, it should be.
Let's see if I can find it without exiting.
Now, it's not going to be on Facebook. Restream decided that it was going to suddenly cut the number of channels that I could hook up to from 3 to 2.
Oh,
So it's only going to be on YouTube and well, Twitch doesn't hold on to them for very long.
I think it's 2 weeks for Twitch.
Haver, if you're just using the stream to listen and don't pay attention to it, you're going to miss out on half of what I have to show. Maybe a little bit less in this tour, but I use that to show all the stuff that I can't show in the regular game.
How do I find the archive section of your channel?
What was that, Susie?
How do I find the archive section of your channel?
There are going to be, when you go to YouTube, there are a couple of tabs,
Twitch.
and one of them says live. Oh, on Twitch, it doesn't hold on to them very long.
Okay.
They get erased after a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So the main archive is YouTube. Favor wants to know what the YouTube link is. Hang on a sec.
Yeah, that's what I was anticipating.
Oh, you put it up?
No, I'm trying to find it so I can share it with everyone.
Oh, I just have to go to my. Let's see, copy. Let's see.
I found it. Cavern Tour Special.
Yep. That one I did because Meredith requested to see certain things that she couldn't get to herself.
Right.
Let's see, that was Haver who asked for that, if I remember correctly.
I posted it in
Oops.
the Cavern chat. I'll post it also in Twitch.
Okay. I should have just sent Kate. It's been a long time since I sent a PM, but I should have just sent Caver the link by a PM with a PM. That way, we don't have to worry about it disappearing off the screen.
I posted it both in Cavern Chat and
Yeah.
in Twitch.
Yeah. What happened was a couple of weeks ago, Meredith requested that I show her Fott's High Garden, and I wound up accidentally going to one of the other New Ages, I forget whose name keeps slipping my mind. And then after that, I showed her a couple of models that Cyan had done for a book series called The Crow Thistle Chronicles. They had made some location models so that people could see the places that were mentioned in the books. I'll be actually using those to fill in dead space on a tour someday. And the reason why I'll include the Crow Thistle locations in a tour is because one of them actually has a tie-in with Myst.
Hey, RK.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Well, I was able to dig up some more information on Laxman.
Oh, you were? Good.
Yeah.
The more the better.
It's funny. This game is truly an archaeology type of game.
That's what I think is the most fun about it.
Just keep digging and finding more info.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm heading into Ula now. Sorry, I'm linking to my Relto. Sorry.
Randolphor is wondering about the spelling of Fott's High Garden. In the transliteration system that I use privately, I tend to leave out the H's because to me, they just confuse how you pronounce the words. It's fa-ets, not fa-hets.
Riddle me this now and riddle me that. Does anyone really know the mind of the bad? I live in the shadows, I work in the shade. I came in a mask alone to keep his crusade. Can you tell me how?
So if you see that, it's not a misspelling, it's just something that I do.
Well, so it is a misspelling.
Say what?
Well, you
I
said
do-
you said the correct spelling is F-A-H-E-T-S, and you
No.
misspell it F-A-E-T-S so that it won't be mispronounced.
No, I do not.
Okay.
The reason I'm not misspelling it is because if you were to look at the Denis letters, they are F-A-E-T-S.
Oh, okay. Well, I beg your pardon. I just have to keep you on your toes, Larry.
The question is, how do you
Actually-
represent the short A sound then?
Oh, I put I use the A with a circle over it.
And how do you type that in Moolah?
That I can't do. Save the get. But on the other hand, I hardly ever write transliterated Denis into Moolah anyway.
It always seems like, and I have noticed other people mentioning this. Seems like every time Mulgay gets updated, there seems to be a small change in lighting or something. Something. It's noticeable, but it's you can't put your finger on it.
I never noticed anything like that. The only thing that of course, that really reached out and grabbed me was when they put the new books into the Watcher's Tavern.
The
They
Watcher's Pub.
they wound up wiping out the scenery outside of it, which came as a big shock to me when I tried to do a tour of it.
Yeah. I keep up with what happened there. So, I know what happened, but it's just...
Yeah. At some point, I'm going to have to find out if they ever fixed it.
Yeah, there's some of the decisions I question. I mean, I think those books should have been added to the main library. And there's all kinds of room in the main library for additional plinths.
Yeah,
additional
but you
book pedestals.
you
That's
gotta
true.
keep in RAWA's story guidelines of canon in addition to that. So,
They used to have a rule that you could not modify anything in the cavern, or I should say on their server, but actually there's been exceptions to that, which is why the Watcher's Pub was able to be modified.
Right. So if they could modify the Watcher's Pub, why not add to the library to put books in there?
so the
It-
library in Agura?
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't see the logic in that, allowing one but not the other.
well,
Yeah, it would- Then it would make more sense to me to have those books in the library rather than in the Watcher's Pub.
or you could have them in the heaven or neighborhoods and have them cycled in through that way too. That way, if people go to their heaven or neighborhood, then it would be like a mystery of what he might get, and it would be there for a limited time or something like that.
No, actually, the main book links to Chisoprinev, so there will be
Oh,
no
yeah.
need to ever change the book that you're linking in with.
About face. Oh, you're gonna give me a hug there, Susan?
Of course.
If I can type, there it is. Sticky enter key.
no one's asked yet, but the background that I'm showing on the stream today is concept art that was made for Tokata Alley, what it would have looked like if they had kept to their plans that they had in the early days. And you have absolutely no idea how itchy I am to explore that little part down at the end there that I see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute. That looks like the egg from Bevan. Or
No, it's that's actually a different. I'm not sure if it's part of the build. No, actually, that is in front of the building, but that's a completely different kind of sculpture. It's
but
I see at least
like
two parts to it. In other
I
words,
wonder if
it's split in half and separated.
I wonder if they chose to go to a ruined look because it's more of a dead civilization rather than a
actually
shiny one.
One of the reasons why that doesn't exist in the game is because when they came up with this art, they had actually intended for Agra Island to just be a short distance offshore from the Denis city, and it would have been connected by a spit of land that led to.
There is an when I was exploring Microbot, there is an island off of Agura to the, I think it's to the right of
Canonically, there are actually several islands that in the immediate vicinity of Agra. One of them, which is Katha, where the mystery house is.
Yeah, I'm wondering if that's the mystery house because this one's the 3D model island. This is an actual 3D model island.
I know. Insane.
Yeah.
Believe me, I've been all over it. No, Katha would have been southeast, a short distance away from Agra.
I always wondered what that island was.
It's not mentioned, and it's and at least in the game, since they only needed to show the tops of it, because that's all you see from the from inside the walkways of Agra, or because of you have to look just right over the stalagmites that surround the island in order to see it. The mystery house. Kaver's asking what the mystery house is. That was the headquarters of Reliema, which were the Denis secret police, and it was also home of the Guild of Illusionists, which was a front organization for the unseen.
It was illusion in itself.
Yeah.
Huh. Surprising they have the hand in the photo. They have the hands that are somewhere in Bevan. Bevan or Hood? I can't remember which one.
Okay, yeah, but bot's online now, so we're ready to go.
All right.
And let's see. As soon as this song ends, I'll go ahead and shut down the music.
Do you want to take us away?
I guess
in a moment.
Okay. Tell me when.
Oh, we have 2 minutes. 2 minutes to go.
Yeah. Like I said, as soon as I shut this song down, we can start.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I always have it muted. Otherwise, I hear 2 Larrys and 1 is enough.
a while to get into Twitch today.
Does it send you a code?
Well, yeah, but
Malohia.
I shouldn't say Twitch. I should say my my email.
If you crash, the first thing to do is to link to the bot, and then find Larry Wilt as a PM to the bot will get you to me. And it is just find Larry, not you don't use the slash. Okay, that song ended, so we are.
Okay.
I just killed the music.
All right. So, I want to thank you, everyone, coming to this month's Cavern Tour, hosted by Susan and co-hosted by me. And we have a returning team of Arte and Larry. Larry, which are our historians to take on this tour. This tour is gonna try to be as spoiler free as possible, but we may go into some spoilers in some places, so be aware of that. There will be points of questions that you can ask your questions on each tour. And also, if you don't have Mirrorbot as a key, make sure you have him as a friend, since we will be using that bot to go to different places, and have a separate window open where you can watch the Twitch live stream, because there are some concepts about that age or where we go that can only be shown on the live stream and cannot be shown in the game. So you'll get a full picture of the history of each of the ages that we go to. Yeah, and if you get lost, you can follow Larry, link to Microbot, and then follow Larry to get back to the group. Try not to climb any ladders because it causes a lot of glitches. The bot will take care of that. Is there anything I missed, Susan?
Nope. Just you covered that we have to buddy Mirrorbot and log into Twitch, so. And we'll find out where we're going as soon as you link to Mirrorbot. That was Zeke talking.
And what is the Twitch address for everybody?
I typed it in the cavern chat.
Oh, so you did.
Twitch.tv LWF58. There is one person who wants to change computers, but I told him or her that she could catch up.
Okay. While we're waiting to give that other person a little bit more time while they're changing computers, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. First off, I am Larry, and I'm the person who was brought in as a second string to Arte when the tours first began. They did one season where Arte and Zeke were the only people involved in talking, and they had a technician named Stone. I was brought in for the second season as a color commentator, and things sort of grew from there. Arte, if you would please introduce yourself.
All right, I am Artertan, or actually, my name is pronounced Rutertan, but just call me Arte for short, or RT, or whatever. Just don't call me late for dinner. And like Larry just said, I've been doing this for a while. I was on hiatus there for a while, and Larry was doing this solo. But now I'm back as a color commentary for Larry, so circle is complete, I guess. And I've been fascinated with the history of Denis. And stepping out of character for a moment, the thought that went into developing not just the culture but the history, and allowing it to, and or not allowing it, but having it mirror our actual world history on the surface, all the politics and controversies, et cetera, et cetera. And just, I find, being a history buff, I find it extremely fascinating. So, and I started telling the history of Denis via Story Night back in 2007. So I've been, yeah, I'm hooked.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan. Most of you know me. I've been playing since I started shortly before Game Tap shut down, and then came back as soon as Mula was resurrected in its current form. I was the hostess for the last season tour, which took a little over 2 years. We were very, very thorough about it, and it's been a great amount of fun, and very interesting as well, of course. And we have a great team here.
Okay. I am Zeke. I am the original creator of the Cavern Tours. I came when I started the game in about 2011, but didn't start playing until 2012. When I started wanting to have a tour, like a walking tour, to discover the history of the ages, because I noticed a lot of people wouldn't know a lot of different history. I was approached by someone who said Arte was a good pick, and we had those at late nights. And I, on the team, I was more of the host, advertising, um, model type of person, while Arte and Stone and Mirfak were more the bots and historians that told the story. So that's kind of how it came about. I brought Larry in the second season because I saw from his website, I thought he was a good person to add to Arte's to discover more things within it. And so far, the team has been great.
The
And don't
final
forget
person. Oh,
Mirfak.
yeah, the final
I said
person.
Mirfak.
No, the final person on the team is Murfek, who was brought in later because at one after we'd done 2 or 3 seasons worth, we started getting complaints that people in Europe couldn't really
Oh
watch
yeah.
them because of the hour that we were holding them at, which was very late at night. I think we started at around 11 or 11:30. So we started looking around for somebody to be a technician for daytime tours, which I volunteered to run. And eventually Murfak volunteered, and he's gotten very proficient at doing what it is that we need to do. So much so that nowadays he's very much in demand for anyone who needs special effects in the game. And that should do it for now. The person who was changing computers, I think, is back. So let's go ahead and link to the bot.
Yep.
Oh.
PM link to Mirabot. Some people already have, and they're already there.
That's okay. As long as they're listening to the chat, that's not a problem.
That's weird. Okay.
That's one of the advantages. That's one of the advantages of doing the chat over a stream, is that Unlike when you crash in the game, you're always able to hear us and what's going on.
Zeke, I usually stay behind in the hood to make sure everyone makes it.
Oh yeah, I'm normally I go quickly.
Actually, that's what I used to do back in the early days. Is I was the cat herder.
We have one straggler who came in late, and I need to get him hooked up with Mirabot.
And make sure he's on the
Still
stream.
amazes me how many people still come.
Okay, he's there.
Well, one of the things that I like to do to try and keep it fresh is and so far I've managed it, is to come up with something slightly different or new to introduce almost every season.
By the way, is our volume okay? Can everyone hear us okay? We're too soft, too loud?
Oh, before you get started, if it's too loud in the game, if you can hear us, Susan, you can type this in the game if you like. Turn your in your audio section, turn your sound effect, ambience, and music down. If you need to hear the Twitch stream and you don't hear us very well, and if the music and this is too loud, so.
Okay. Anyway, it's say 10 minutes in, so let's go ahead and get started. Today, as you can tell, the tour subject is the Great Zero. The Great Zero is the English translation of Ragaro Zero, the origin point of the cylindrical coordinate system used by the Denis to allow for navigation within the city, its caverns, and just about everywhere else they went. There are zero in most of the ages to which we have linking books. Zero is unrelated to the English word zero, even though it sounds the same. While there has not been confirmation of the true meaning of the word, it has been stated by Dr. Richard A. Watson that it is indeed a Denis word, and fans have tentatively defined it as center with the connotation of a point of origin. Something for people who like to study the Denis language to make note of is the placement of the adjective great. Denis sentence structure usually puts an adjective after a noun. However, there's an exception when it comes to place names. Rawa has confirmed that when part of a proper noun, the adjective great can precede the noun. That's why instead of resirogaro, which it would be in correct grammar, it's regaro zero. That's also why the great shaft's name in Denis is Regaro Tiwa and not Retiwa Garo. The reason that the Great Zero exists is due to custom and practices that date back long before the founding of Denis. On the Denis homeworld Gardernay, it was customary for the Rhône to first give newly written ages to the Guild of Maintainers. They would investigate it to determine its overall safety. If it was found to be viable, they would then place a marker spike somewhere in the age to show that it had been approved for use. After that, members of the Guild of Surveyors would link in to establish a zero origin point and a prime meridian line. There are hints that the marker spikes set by the maintainers might have been contain the electronics they use for that purpose. In Garrison, it can be seen that the marker spike caps are normally kept locked in cages, and so were probably valuable. Zero were normally oriented toward magnetic north. If the survey team couldn't find north for some reason, it would be oriented toward a major landmark. Once done, the zero made it easier for the team to perform in-depth exploration of the age and allowed the map makers to do their job. After that, other specialist teams would come in to do their work. So the Guild of Healers, for example, would send a medical team to search for signs of harmful diseases or poisonous substances. When the Denis split off from the rest of the Rhône, they used the same procedures for opening a new age since they were proven and effective. The Great Zero in the Denis Caverns is located in a forest of lesser stalagmites and pools of water on the peak of the tallest and most massive stalagmite on the island of Agra. In the Book of Tiana, a claim was made that the stalagmite was a mile tall, but that's not true. And that's something you can verify for yourself. If you stand on the esplanade near the ferry terminal, your key will give you a reading of minus 93 Shafiti elevation. That means the Great Zero is about 1,240 feet above you, which is just over 2/10 of a mile. After the Zero was established in Denis, one of the very first buildings that they began constructing was a monumental building around it. The work on it began in the Denis year 0. It was one of the very first public buildings to be completed in the cavern. Near the time of the fall of Denis, new machinery was added to the Great Zero, which, once calibrated, permitted the then new key devices to tap into the signal and show the owner's position. It's unknown what kind of interests were used with the Zero T before the key devices were invented. The DRC left a notebook for explorers here in the Great Zero antechamber. I'll be reading excerpts from it as we go along. The first thing it has to say is "Welcome to the Great Zero." You'll notice a number of different areas to the Great Zero structure, as well as a number of various machines. We apologize for the great detail, but the structure and related mechanisms and systems are somewhat complicated. In the stream, I am going to show you an overview of the Great Zero Monumental building. We are at the southern end, or I should say, I'm sorry, this is technically upside down in that south is up in the picture and north is down. We're in this the very small structure at the end of that map. On top of the structure, there's a red light on a staff, and the light from that can be seen almost anywhere else on Agra Island. So if you ever look up towards the Guild Hall and way up above you see a red light, that's where we are. It's right atop this building. Okay, and I forgot yet again to enable Uru so that people can see your smiling faces. There we go. Okay, Murphak, if you can warp us down to the courtyard, please. Yep. I'm walking down to the courtyard itself to show you one of the more important features. What I'm standing right in front of on the ground is a line with two Denis numbers right at the end of it. And the numbers in this case are 0, 0. This marks the Denis prime meridian. And therefore, this was magnetic north at the time Denis was founded. So everything on your key is measured off of this line, plus the distance and the height above or below the machine that we're standing near. Okay. Caver's standing in front of my camera here. Now, the official prime meridian runs on a line extending down the decorative median strip that goes through the Guild Hall, Tokata Courtyard, down the Great Stairs, and then out through the center of Kareth's Arch. The meridian strip marks the direction magnetic north would have been at the time the cavern was colonized. This meridian, by the way, sparked a little bit of drama at one point in Denis history. In the Denis year 1817, which would have been 5,840 years before the Christian era, a king named Muirta was on the throne. Muirta was the hedonistic and uninterested in actually ruling the Denis Empire. Instead, his mother, whose name was Jolatha, ruled as the power behind the throne. Jolatha wanted to change the zero meridian for personal reasons. That reason had to do with a policy established by Renref, the first king of Denis. He had proclaimed that the zero meridian was to be reserved for religious, guild, and public buildings, and that such buildings had to have permission from the throne to be constructed. Because of that exclusivity, how close one's building was to the meridian became a matter of great prestige and pride. By the time Muirta took the throne, that line and just about all of the nearby territory that was capable of being used for construction had already been taken. That vexed Jolatha because she favored a cult named the Temple of the Tree, but couldn't give them land near the zero meridian to build a temple, despite wanting to do that. She craved it because it would have automatically given them prestige, legitimacy, and importance. Then she had the idea. If the zero meridian were changed, it would wipe the slate clean, and her son would have all the land along the new line to award not just to the Temple of the Tree, but also to anyone else who gained her favor. With that in mind, she gave Muirta his marching orders, and he began campaigning to have the line set to a permanent landmark. The new prime meridian he proposed pointed toward a prominent feature of the cavern that just happened to be in the direction of the cult's existing temple. Of course, Jolotha didn't outright admit that the real reason for wanting the new line was so that Murta could authorize religious cults to build temples along it. But in the end, it didn't matter. The proposal was never officially adopted by the Dani Empire, although it did confuse things sufficiently that the proposed line appears as the zero meridian on at least one map of Agra that I've seen. 1,295 years later, in the Dani year 3112, King Rakuri finally put an end to the matter by decreeing that the original zero line was the official one and that it could never be altered. By the way, I have a personal theory that has to do with how the Dani established zero meridians. As I said earlier, it was Rone and Dani practice to first attempt to find magnetic north and to establish the meridian based on it. If they could not for some reason, then they used a prominent landmark that could be seen from where the zero was placed. That meant that using magnetic north was both a tradition and a custom in Dani, and there was no precedent for altering the direction after it was established. While using magnetic north is well and good over the short term, it leads to a problem in the long term when you're on the surface of a planet. Magnetic north and south are subject to change due to a phenomenon called polar drift. On Earth, magnetic north and south have even switched polarity several times since planetary formation. Jolotha's wish to change Dani's zero meridian would have faced quite a bit of opposition. The Dani were highly conservative and resisted change. Since altering the meridian would also have taken away the prestige of all the previous buildings set along it, it's pretty much a given that that would have made a great many of Dani's elites angry. To even propose the idea, Jolotha would have needed a very good reason. While there's no proof for or against the idea, my theory and suspicion is that Jolotha and Murta could have used polar drift as an argument. Since the meridian had been based on magnetic north at the time of the founding of Dani, they had a ready-made reason for a change in the form of polar drift. I looked up magnetic north for Eddy County in New Mexico, which is where the Dani Cavern is, at the time when Dani was founded in 7657 before the Christian era, and it was about 61.94 degrees east of true north, or east by northeast on modern compasses. At the time of Rakuri's decree, magnetic north had shifted to 61 degrees, or 61.03 degrees east of true north. By the time of the fall of Dani, it had shifted to 29.46 east of true north. Since magnetic north was changing all the time, that could have been an excuse to make Dani north point towards something permanent, like the direction of a landmark near Jolotha's cult, for instance. Do we have any questions so far?
I don't see any.
I did see one in the cavern chat a little earlier.
Let me scroll up. I know there's a lot of people are making comments.
But I did see one legitimate question. I think it was from, I'm not sure. I think it might have
from
been from
Shiloh O'Brien.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, I faintly remember that in one of the King notebooks, one King changed the line of the Great Zero, but you just talked about that.
Okay,
right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I thought I saw a different one. Okay, yeah. Okay, in that case, the Great Zero is divided into 5 main areas. The Great Zero Observation Room, also known as the Great Zero Antechamber, is the place where you find a key machine which upgrades your key software and programs it to be able to view what are called Great Zero markers. Okay, let's see. By the way, it upgrades it to key version 2.0, according to the notebook in the antechamber. Once you've, it sends you on a quest to find Great Zero markers to help calibrate your key. And then once it's done that, you're able to get here to the courtyard. Inside the antechamber, of course, is the DRC notebook, a Nexus linking book, and the machine that upgrades your key device. Explorers were not able to access the antechamber until December 20th of 2006. However, the machinery at that time was all shut down and nothing worked. So there wasn't much to do except look out the window at the courtyard. It was some time before the key programming machine was repaired and it became possible to perform the first marker mission that permitted access to the courtyard. When explorers were finally able to reach the Great Zero courtyard, the Imager Relto page was discovered here on March 7th of 2007. So now that we are in the courtyard, which is below the observation room, this holds the what's called the neutrino dispenser. Around this machine is a topographical map inlaid into the flooring. The map is a representation of the Denis Cavern, with the neutrino dispenser placed where Agora Island would be. There was confusion about this map for a long time because it doesn't look very much like the cavern map that was shown on Atris' Journey to the Surface. As it turns out, the map's depiction of the caverns is highly inaccurate and should not be taken as a reference. Atris apparently was much more concerned about the calculations and angles of the tunnels they were boring than with getting the cavern right. The balcony that overlooks the courtyard has another key terminal and the Nexus book. That terminal can be used to download and upload a second marker mission, and that opens the doors at the far end of the courtyard, which lets you into what's called the Calibration Center. The doors to the Calibration Center are locked until the second marker mission is completed. Now you'll notice that scattered around the courtyard, there are small domes on the walls. I'm going to go over here and stand in front of one of them. These are a bit of a mystery. We don't know if they're actually functional or if they have some sort of, or they're just decorative. One thing that you may notice, though, is that they are sighted. Each one is below one of the crystals that helps regulate or absorb the electrical energy in the place. However, similar devices to this we'll be able to see again later in the calibration room. Say the next thing that I found of interest is right over here. If you look up in this decorative feature high on the wall here, you'll notice that there is a floating object in there. These you'll also notice that the decoration are incomplete stone rings, and I've kind of wonder if maybe it was these rings that inspired the way that Kadish decorated Kadish Tolesa. The decorative balls floating in the center of the rings are inlaid with a design that's repeated on many of the surfaces around this building, including the bowls that make up the body of the key machines. These balls might be another use of rock from an age called Rebek, where they have a type of rock that floats naturally. That style of floating, or those floating rocks from Rebek, were actually used to make the floating sculptures that you find in Ederkimo and let's see, where was it? Ederdelin. Neutrinos, Susan, are, if I remember correctly, I don't think they have any sort of electrical charge.
Because I'm
The
wondering.
detection of,
Oh, go
if I
ahead,
can
Arte.
inject here,
Yes.
neutrinos are very small and they have no charge, which
Yeah.
makes them very difficult to detect, and they pass through objects readily, which makes them hard to detect.
Mm-hmm. Actually,
Okay.
the Earth
They're
gets
a subatomic particle.
the Earth actually gets bombarded with them from space to the tune of billions and billions every day. They go completely through everything, including the planet itself, and have absolutely no effect on anything.
Oh, cool. Because I was wondering, like, that thing is rotating and hovering, like right dead center. I'm wondering if it's magnetic, if it's held in place magnetically.
There is a possibility that that's true, since there is a great deal of electricity in the air around here.
Yeah.
But that's why they have the crystals to basically absorb the charges when they get too big and cause the lightning strikes.
Okay. And just FYI, someone did ask a question about the purpose of the water in here. So I think you'll get to that eventually, right?
Yes, I am going to be mentioning the water, so
Great. Thank you.
that will be answered in due time.
Thank you.
According to the DRC notebook, the machine in the center of the courtyard is a neutrino emitter that sends out a fan-shaped spray of particles. When they pass through objects, the particles leave behind a brief blue glow that looks like a solid line. The glowing line on the side of the courtyard and the rocks beyond is caused by the particles passing through them. Neutrinos are completely safe and do not cause any health problems, nor do they react to non-mineral materials, which is why no line appears when the fan passes through people or their clothing. Although it's not stated, I suspect that the neutrino emitter was built near the end of the Empire, at the same time that key devices were introduced. My reasons are that neutrino emitters are not found anywhere outside the Denis cavern, and that And such a machine would be impractical to have to construct in every new age that Denis wrote. It seems more likely to me that the emitter was made for the purpose of programming key devices so that they could interpret the signals from the 0T and create position markers. Okay, Murphak, if you're ready, can you take us down into the well under the neutrino emitter so that, or down to that level? And while he's seeing what he's doing there, this is more of an out-of-character note. But one of the things that I find really interesting about the Great Zero is that, as near as I can tell, the artist who drew all the textures here decided to play with it in places where you would not normally be able to see. Along the seams where the textures wrap around and come together, they left what looked to be deliberate markings. And those markings form patterns that are not part of the normal texture. Scott, Murphak turned it off. In fact, if you look, you will notice that the beam of light that comes to it from farther along is also off. This is the way that this area would have looked before the machine was turned on back in 2006. I'll be talking a little bit more about that, though, later in the tour.
Can I ask a quick question about the map on the floor?
Yes.
Are the gray parts, is that water? Does that depict water? And the brown
No,
parts
other way
are
around.
land? Oh.
The gray is supposed to be the land, and the brown part is supposed to be the water.
Oh, interesting. Thank you.
And I'm wondering about this Great Zero. I guess you'd call it the mirror reflection. Is that supposed to be a one-way mirror that you're looking into the pool of water?
I don't know. I don't know of any mirrors.
Because I'm looking at the. Let me do this.
See, it looks like you're over there.
I'm not sure what this represents. It's like a mirror, but when you look in there, it's kind of a different thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything that looks
I
like
see a
that
reflection.
to me.
It's
Okay.
just like a reflection. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, there aren't any mirrors that I know about.
All right. Continue.
Well, at this point, I'm waiting to see if Murphak can take us down below the ground level here.
And also in the Great Zero chamber where we were before.
You mean the antechamber?
Antechamber. Up at the top, there's two specific art pieces, I believe, that are very, very distinguished. Like they are just pop out that I saw. One is
I believe that the roof of the antechamber is one of the places where textures come together, and they decided to play around with the designs on them, because the textures are laid. Okay, the textures are laid kind of mirrored to each other. In other words, they took one texture for one side and then reversed it for the other. And that's why you have these symmetrical patterns.
Ah,
Now, the numbers around the outside ring of this floor, I mentioned that the ones at the zero meridian are the Denis numbers 00. The other numbers are also Denis numbers indicating the direction in what are called torranti. And so those are basically just like the degrees that you see on a compass rose.
and so would the grade zero be like a only for thinking of real world things would be like the center point, and then the key or markers or what they are. Um,
Okay, the way the cylindrical coordinate system works is that on the surface, when we use a map and a compass, we are calculating everything from where we are. In other words, you're the center point of the system,
yes.
and then you're just figuring out going outward where north is and all that stuff. The
Yeah.
Denis did it the other way around. In other words, they picked one place that is going to be the center of everything, and then they figure out where you are in relationship to that point.
Ah, okay.
So it's kind of the opposite of the way that we do it.
Okay.
I've got some more information on the calibration in 2007 for the Great Zero. If you want to hear it.
Actually, we're not get to that point in the tour yet.
Okay.
That's going to be covered a little later.
You had mentioned it, and that's what I was going to talk it up. All right.
No, if you recall from the script I gave you, that's a little later.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll go into detail about that. The one thing though that I do want to show while we're here in the courtyard is the Great Zero startup procedure as it would have looked back in 2007. See.
Makes you wonder how they carried all those crystals in here.
On the backs of Barrow.
Not a one. That's one of the things that I can tell you that while we're waiting for Murphac to do his thing, the idea that the Barrow were slaves and the Denis used them to amuse themselves or for labor or abuse them or anything is all pure fiction on the part of Yisha. The I don't know whether there were any Denis who knew about them. Well, obviously there were because Escher knew about them. But whether or not he knew about them when Denis was a going concern, or if he found out afterwards, is an unanswered question. But I can tell you that there was basically no citizen of Denis who knew that the Barrow even existed, much less enslaved them. And that's a bit of information that I was able to confirm from Rawa.
Hmm.
So Cyan had plans for the Denis going forward that probably would have explained a lot and made them more relevant. But the thing is that of course they never got to those points, and they are very reluctant to talk about what those plans were. But Yisha was a woman on a mission. Say, she was determined that she was going to set the Baru free from whatever it was that was binding them. And in this particular case, the tools that she had to work with were a whole bunch of strangers who didn't know her from the son of Adam. And that meant that she had to convince you in a very short time that the Baru, that helping the Baru was worthwhile. And so she used every tool at her hand, that she had at hand, to make you sympathize and want to do so. And that's, I think, makes her a lot more interesting, actually, than this kind of cut and paste messiah that she seems to be on the surface.
Oh dear.
Okay. Glitch number 1. That's it. Welcome to the Cavern Tours.
Oh yeah.
This is my
Be
phone.
prepared for glitches. That's why I said have your roll toolbook ready.
Okay, so
Oh wow. Oh,
So let us know, Mirafac, when we can link to Mirabot, or should we go ahead and do that now?
I'm trying it right now, and it looks like it's working, so you should be able to come right back.
Okay. PM link to Mirabot.
Okay, here we go. And this... What he's doing right now, and why this is taking so long, is that he's paging in the... He's paging in the age of Jalak, so that he can use the pillars to build a platform at the level that I want you to see. And as you can see, that caused a glitch in which we were all kicked out of the age. But so right now we're standing at the level that Jalak would be if we were there.
We're actually standing underneath Jalak.
here
Oh,
we
that's
are.
true. Actually, that is true because
And
the
this is the
pillars.
source of the things that you can summon to build things.
Yes, where they store them off camera.
Mm.
It's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, just be prepared for those glitches.
Which is why we give you instructions on how to get back if you wind up crashing.
Yep.
Of course, I'm still seeing people raining from the sky.
It's not raining pigs, it's raining people.
Of course, that was a
I feel like
song,
I'm watching,
It's Raining Men.
It's like watching the Mario Partners in Time after he gets eaten by that monster.
So how many of you here are here on a Cavern Tour for the first time? I see some new names.
Okay, he's got us back up top again.
Well, welcome to all the newcomers.
Oh, this is interesting.
Welcome back, Miva.
I think I know what he's doing, but it's definitely an interesting approach.
It's the first time I've ever seen this kind of effect.
The stone walls.
No, the fact that we've only got a small section of the floor here.
Welcome back, Death Kalan. Decathlon. And I think Crew Cut is new.
While we're waiting, Larry,
Mm-hmm.
do you have any dunning saying for "We're not in Kansas anymore"?
Well, I don't. We could say a lot of that, but not. But of course, Kansas does not translate.
What would translate like be just the same scenario?
Arte might be able to construct a sentence off the top of his head. Uh, I forget what the extension is for we. Oh, you're leaving already, Pink Elephant?
The verb suffix for we is -et.
Et. Okay. Yeah. So can that
Real Kennet.
real can it
Te
to
Kansas.
Kansas uh anymore? I don't think we have a word for. I don't recall one off the top of my head anyway. So we can say we are not in Kansas.
Kind of looks pretty with this.
Well,
While we're waiting,
yeah,
does
there
it,
actually is something else I can do here.
okay?
If I go back to the stream, let's see. Okay. While we're waiting, if you look at the stream window, I can show you a couple of the markings that I'm talking about. Say, you'll notice that where the texture comes together, there seems to be two lines surrounding what look like symbols. And as I was saying, I don't believe that those are accidental. I believe that it was the texture artist just basically playing around with the set in a spot where the explorers would normally not be able to get to.
Find Easter eggs, I guess.
Basically. Okay. We've got more of the model back.
Hey, Larry, why don't you tell them about these T-shirts we're wearing?
Oh, those are just the Cavern Tour logo. I designed those shirts, and they were added to the game near the time that the cavern tours season started.
And they're in your Realto closets.
That's
And you
correct.
can dye in whatever color you want.
Oops.
I feel like we're um on the Grecian tour.
Let's see, where are we?
We're in the bottom of the well.
Okay, yeah. Let's see, where?
I think he's trying to figure out how to get up there.
Yeah, he has to build a platform. In the meantime, here's another one of the markings in the stream window.
Oh. The thing with the pointy thing?
Yeah, that and above it, do you see those lines?
Yeah,
and what looks like a triangle in the middle?
Yeah.
Right. See, those are where the two textures come together, and then they're kind of flipped to so that they can. That's only one half of a design, but then they flip the textures and put them together so it looks like one piece.
Looks like a Rorschach test.
Kind of, sort of. Let's see.
While we're waiting, Arte, would you like to tell them about your Dunny language lessons?
Absolutely. As some of you may know, I teach the Dani language. I've got beginner class and an advanced class, and the beginner class is you learn how to basically read Dani. So if you come across any Dani writing in any of the games or the caverns, it'll help you to transliterate it and then translate the text. And the advanced class is not for the faint of heart, because there's you end up making compositions in Dani using what you learned in the first set of classes. And the beginning class is 6 lessons. So it teaches you numbers, the alphabet, how to tell time, and then the components of the languages, suffixes that are used, verbs, prefixes. So you got the articles, definite articles, prepositions, and grammar. So, and
if
one of the instructors, it's taught at the Guild of Instructors, and in the Guild of Instructors Hood. I'm sorry. And let's see if I can get a. I don't recall my key number for my instructor, but I use Shokhutan Ren is a guild master, and we have another instructor here on the tour with us. Anathea is also known as Shokhutan Anna. So either one of us can be contacted if you're interested in learning about the language.
Shiloh, Dani was based on several languages, but one of the more interesting influences is Hebrew. It has something in common with the way the Hebrew language is instructed.
One language I tried to learn was Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
I put your key number in chat.
You just beat me to it.
Do we have any questions?
Rawa is studying. Rawa is studying Hebrew, which is one of the reasons why he used it as an influence.
Okay.
There was that question a while back about the purpose of the water.
And I
Flowing.
mentioned that, yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay, you're still going to wait. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, I've got my, if I go a little too far ahead, then I'm going to mess up my notes here.
Mm.
Oh, by the way, the marks along the seams where the two textures panel come together and cause the shapes and coloring are too elaborate not to be deliberate. But as I mentioned, I believe that they're just little touches the game artists included to amuse themselves while creating the 3D models. And it's fun to see what they did. The marks weren't intended to be seen, and I ran across them by accident. But markings like this appear in other ages as well. One of the more fun ones is in Urkana, where they have on a canyon wall away from the area where the explorers can get to normally, they have what looks like the face and body of a lion cub. Saying we'll be showing you that when we get there, when we do the tour of it. By the way, if you look back at the stream window, I have one of the markings from the calibration room. There is a pool of water there, and inside of that is hidden this particular marking, which, if that isn't a guy wearing a crown, I don't know what to call it.
Oh, I thought it was a bug.
Nope, you can
It
see.
also reminds me of an old English magistrate.
Yeah. In fact, if you look, that arch behind him, to either side of him, could even be a throne.
It's a Rorschach test.
Even below it, looking at the screenshot, it sort of looks like a borrow hanging or something.
Yeah, but no, what I'm seeing myself is there's a white top that's on the crown, and then just below that you can see his the area for his eyes, nose, and then it looks like he has either long sideburns or a beard.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, and then his body's a little more indistinct below that. And then coming off of the crown to either side, there's two arch-looking that could be the back of a throne.
On the other hand, if you readjust your focus and focus on the arch as being the robes of a magistrate, and on top of that arch looks like a cartoon version of an English magistrate circa 1600 with the
you're saying that
wigs.
the top, what I'm calling the top of the crown, you're saying could be an English wig.
That's his jaw. That would be the jaw of the English magistrate. He's with a frown. He's not a happy English magistrate. And then you got the nose, and then the two eyes that are like piercing.
That or he's a cyclops.
Glaring.
Say that or he's a cyclops.
No, because the eyes are above them.
Well, if you blow it up full screen,
I see.
You see the figure of a.
Yeah.
If you blow it at full screen, you see right in dead center, you see this man outlined in black with his arms in the air.
Anyway,
see him like he's cheering.
Yeah. I don't think he's cheering though.
Okay. Anyway, let's back up a little bit because there are a couple of others. This is down the tunnel that the river runs through. And this one, I'm not quite sure what to make of that one.
Looks like a Russian doll.
or an angry centipede.
An angry centipede. Why is he angry?
Yeah. Well, the
Because he
head
looks like he's
area
got a frown.
that
He
almost
looks like
looks
a
like
cockroach to me.
if you look at the top end where the light strip is, that's what looks like a head to me of a rather angry looking clown. He's got the round nose and the two big eyes, and then what looks like a very wide open fanged mouth.
Well, whether it's
Oh wow.
whether it's a clown, whether it's a killer clown from outer space, a cockroach, or a centipede, it looks angry.
Yep.
It could be that clown from that movie with the kids.
It?
It, yes.
Pennywise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, Pennywise.
And then here's one more. Again, this one, it's a pattern of some sort, but whether I don't really see any major shapes in it.
Looks like the Scorpion King. The segmented body.
It looks like a lobster. I see a lobster tail. Larry, have you shown us your coffee mug, your huge coffee mug yet today?
I've been sipping on that all through this.
Okay.
Yeah. I know what it's like to drink a lot.
Yeah, show us your special effect.
Right. Yes, it
It's larger than your head.
looks like it anyway.
So we've got 50 minutes left of the tour. Are we going to be able to finish everything?
I guess we better give up on trying to do the effect in game. I've shown you the things that well enough in the stream. Okay, Murphac, let's go ahead and take us back up to the floor level. And let's get this show back on the road. Scott Miller, my mug is actually roughly 3 cups.
Oh wow. I have a mug that's only 2 cups.
Actually, that's my normal mug. It's 2 cups. I only trot out that really big one. This is the one that I normally drink from. And this one I trot out just for the tours.
Well, I drink coffee every time we did the late night tours too, so.
Okay.
That was 2 cups.
Yeah.
Oh dear, there's an effect where someone is 3 times as wide as he should be. Someone wearing a hat.
We're in a tunnel.
Oh, he took us into the tunnel. In fact, if you look behind you, here's that one that I just texture thing that I just showed you down at the end. The one that
we're in the.
thought.
Go ahead.
We're in the water channel.
We're in the water channel, yeah.
So this is where that the one that you thought looked like a cockroach is. And if we go down this way, okay, can't go any further. Okay. Anyway, if you can, please, Murphac, please take us back to the courtyard. I want to show the Great Zero turning on. Oh, my game just crashed, so I'll be back in just a moment.
Oh, I just crashed.
Yeah.
We may have all crashed.
Most of us are still here. Knock on wood. All right.
It's not my fault, honest.
Yeah, there is something that looks like a marker up there. It's a legitimate in-game marker. We will ask Larry that when he returns.
Oh, I'm still here.
We're talking about, Larry, that thing that looks like a marker from a marker game, but it's really always there.
I'll talk about that when we get to that part of the tunnel, or I should say the corridor. Right now, we're still technically in the courtyard.
Yeah.
Okay. See where this. Okay. Everyone, if you wait a minute. Okay. Link to the bot. You'll wind up back in the corridor. In the courtyard.
So PMW to Mirobot.
And then you'll want to back off so that you get the largest possible view of the Great Zero. Or, I mean, the neutrino dispenser. And anytime you're ready, go ahead and turn on the machine, Murphac, so that people can see what it was like back when it was first activated. You notice that we're just now getting the lights, and we still don't have the neutrino beam. When this was first activated, it was activated by Victor Laxman, a member of the DRC, who was the chief engineer and who was primarily responsible for making all the Denis machinery work. I believe that Arte has a few things that he can say about who Victor Laxman was. Murphac, can you show us the avatar of Laxman?
Okay, so as Larry just said, Victor Laxman was the chief technological engineer of the restoration effort. And you could often be heard, this going back to 2007, 2006, 2007, and even as far back as 2003. He could be heard raving about the difficulties that DRC were having with the key technology. And he conversed with explorers about Denis technology in open town hall meetings. Prior to the DRC's pullout in 2004, Laxman was working with explorers to calibrate the Great Zero. And when the cavern reopened in 2006, he again worked with explorers to recalibrate the Great Zero. Unfortunately, there was a problem. In order to get to the calibration chamber, there were several markers in the neighborhoods that were not active, and he struggled trying to get them on and was never able to get them on until finally it was April 13th of 2007. They just started pinging away merrily for no reason anybody could discern. And with that, though, we were able to finish calibrating the Great Zero. And it was later on that year, I think it was in June of that year, is when the Great Zero was finally turned on. Enough explorers had run enough calibration missions that the unit could be turned on. A little background about Victor Laxman. He received multiple engineering degrees from the University of Cambridge before joining the Royal Navy from 1978 to 1990. He first learned of the restoration efforts from Dr. Watson in early 95 before joining the DRC from 1997 to 2004. After Dr. Watson left the DRC in '04, Victor also became co-leader of the DRC until it disbanded due to a lack of funding. In December of '05, Victor Laxman first approached the other DRC members about restarting the restoration efforts and joined the DRC once more in 2006. Unlike the other DRC members, Victor didn't oversee any particular phase of the restoration, but instead was in charge of all aspects of restoring Denis technology. In particular, translating Denis technology into English and making it work with other human technology. And he heavily worked on the key and the related technologies such as the Nexus and the Lattice.
Okay, if everyone who's linking in, if you could move from the spot that you're at, we're trying to show you all what Victor Laxman looks like, and everyone keeps linking into him.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, he's probably Murphak is probably embodying him.
Yeah,
So you're linking to Murphak.
when they're linking into Murphak, of course, they're whining right smack inside of it. Anyway,
Okay,
sorry about
there he
that, Arte.
is.
If you can continue.
That was it. That's all I had.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Victor Laxman was the one who created the programs that are used for the key device, the Great Zero, and pretty much anywhere else that required reprogramming Denis technology. So the key devices, for instance, the display screen that we have nowadays is just the latest version of it. Over the course of the restoration, there were actually several different ways that that the image appeared, depending on how he programmed them, and that and so I think we're on something like the third or fourth appearance of the key display, and then. The fact that the keys are available in several different languages is also entirely due to Victor Laxman's work. Okay, and I think we are done here in the courtyard, so let's go ahead and move on to the next section, which is the Great Zero Calibration Center access. And thank you very much, Murphak, for bringing Victor to join us.
Thank you, Murphak. Awesome. So did Cyan have avatars for Victor and the other characters, like for in-game episodes?
Absolutely. All of the non-player characters, even Rand Miller, had personalized avatars.
Victor's right here, Scott. Oh, sorry, Larry. Oh, and there he goes.
It's to your. There you go, right in front of you, Scott.
He looks evil though. He's got that low brow.
Bald is not evil.
Follically impaired.
Okay, now I am moving on to the stretch of corridor just inside the sliding doors. And you can join me here whenever you're ready. The first thing that you need to know, by the way, and this came up earlier, was somebody was asking about the flashing marker that's found here in the corridor. And that's actually not a calibration marker. What you're looking at is a display screen. That screen has displayed several different images over the year. Back when Victor was leading the explorers in calibrating the Great Zero so that he could turn on the emitter, that viewer displayed progress reports so that people would know how well they were doing and how close things were to being completed. Say, the actual calibrations room, of course, contains what are called Great Zero maintenance units. And the DRC, of course, found the machinery shut down when they arrived in the monument and programmed the maintenance units to calibrate the Great Zero itself. Explorers were tasked with missions to give the machinery information on distance, elevation, and azimuth to known points, with each machine calibrating a specific function. After the Great Zero was reactivated, the machines were converted to calibrate your individual key devices, and now the 4 of them all show the same data. The maintenance units allowed an explorer to select any of 18 marker missions, but to calibrate your key, all 18 missions had to be completed. And still do, for that matter.
Somebody heard you clearing your throat. They said to say hi.
In any case, it wasn't until April 13th of 2007 that explorers were able to collect the second set of markers that opened the Great Zero Calibration Center. Victor Laxman decided that he needed many different key devices collecting and transmitting data about the spatial coordinates to activate the neutrino dispenser, and explorers began to collect the Great Zero calibration markers as part of the project. On May 19th, 2007, Victor announced that good progress was being made. It was on June 23rd of 2007 that Laxman announced a date for the activation of the dispenser. It was 1600 key time on June 24th. That was a well-attended event, and Laxman turned on the machinery personally. On June 27th, Dr. Marie Sutherland announced a contest in which the explorers could design a new stained glass panel for the neighborhood linking book rooms to mark the Great Zero linking books. By the way, when you come into this room, or this search a corridor, you'll see that there's another set of doors that we cannot get into, and never have. So we don't know what exactly is back there. They're over here to the sides, on either side. If you look at them, They seem to be semi-transparent, and you can see what looks like an archway on the other side. However, these doors have never been opened, so we have no idea what it is that the Denis kept down there.
Yeah, that was just a janitor closet to put all their supplies in.
Yeah. It could be just a gun closet. It could be a machinery room. It could be pretty much anything.
Or a boiler room of some type.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, the viewer, after they finished giving the reports, the viewer was no longer necessary, or I should say after they activated the Grade Zero dispenser, it was no longer necessary for the, excuse me a sec, for the viewer to show the reports. So the image was changed. And what am I looking at here? See if I can find it.
It's on the stream.
What I'm looking for at the moment. Here we go. So the next thing that the viewer showed, and the reason why I chose Tokata Alley to be the stream background this time around, is they showed that concept art for Tokata Alley with the symbol of the path of the shell superimposed on it. And if you look at the stream window, I've got that up now. Later on, after the great server crash, if I recall correctly, the image was changed to what you're seeing now, which is basically kind of a generic pattern representing the Great Zero with one of the markers showing superimposed over it. So that should answer the question that came up earlier as to what why there's a marker up there. It's just a picture on a viewer. And as for the water, that's actually a little bit of a mystery. It's not necessary in any way, shape, or form to keep control of the neutrino stream that's running down the corridor. So the chances are it's just a decorative feature that makes because this is a monument.
But there's water outside, right?
That's a little bit different.
Those...
That's natural. That is actually natural water. But let's go into the calibration chamber itself. And in here, we're going to...
Oh, that water's orange. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
It has the same algae in it that the rest of the cavern does. Although there does seem to be some sort of a power bleed off into the water that's causing it to be that bright patch.
So how do we get crystal clear blue water inside here?
Because it's filtered and doesn't have the algae in it.
Well, it looks like Murphac turned off the water.
The calibration center looks out on a pond filled with the same glowing algae as the Denis Lake. In the center of the pond is a set of pillars that collect and concentrate the neutrinos into the base that they are set into. If you look above the pillars, you can see a cloud of particles being drawn down. In front of the pillars, there's an emitter that generates a beam of particles. They are sent into the calibration center through a focusing device, and then go down the corridor through several crystals that act like prisms in order to direct it, and eventually end up at the neutrino emitter. I'd say, oh, this is where my notes are on the water. Yeah, it's not known whether or not the water serves a practical purpose or is just decorative, but it's more likely that it's just decorative. And here I wanted to show you what the activation would have looked like had you been standing here instead of in the courtyard when the system was turned on. So Murphak, if you can turn everything off again.
And in Uro Complete Chronicles, we do this.
Yeah, you get to go through the activation sequence. Okay, and then when you're ready, please turn it back on.
Looks like when he turned it back on, some particles fell off into the lake.
You'll also notice that the emitter at the base of the pillars started glowing before the beam came through. Do that one more time, please, Murphak. So when he turns it on, look at the emitter at the base of the pillars. Again, at the time the DRC discovered the cavern, the Great Zero was in standby mode and needed to be recalibrated before it could function. Recalibration was accomplished by explorers who ran the marker missions to do so. Okay, let's see. Okay, that's about that. Now, during the time that the Great Zero was being worked on, Victor Laxman did some interviews. And this here's what he had to say in some of those. The Denis technology is intriguing, not like the electronics we're used to, and their processing equipment is not based on binary like our computers. So we've had to try to start from square one with regard to figuring out how things work around there. First, the key. Seems the majority of processing takes place is not in the key itself, but in the primary lattice array. Very interesting because it allows for a very flexible system. It can be charged and upgraded on the fly. The Great Zero itself was apparently not originally linked to the key. It was added as an upgrade later. I could go on about this stuff. Do you have specific questions so I don't bore you with my rambling? And the interviewer asked, Mr. Laxman, first off, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday. But I do have a question. If the key was not yet distributed throughout the Denis populace, how large was the risk of somebody getting trapped in the Nexus? Victor Laxman, great question. From what we've seen, that actually was part of the plan. The elite members of society who had access to keys could move freely, but anyone without a key would be entrapped, providing a certain level of protection for the upper echelon. We assumed that the Nexus was monitored back then, and those who were trapped there were fined and released. But we're not sure on that point. The interviewer then asked, do you know how the key dispensers work? Victor Laxman replied, it dispenses keys. And then went on. It has two functions, actually. First, it physically attaches the key to hands. Secondly, It registers it with the primary lattice to provide the correct level of functionality. The interviewer then said, recently something happened with the Great Zero, and all explorers who had completed all 14 calibration members received the ability to read their current position in the cavern on the key. Can you explain why this doesn't work on the surface, as well as give an estimate as to how far along the recalibration is? Laxman answers, the Great Zero does not use electromagnetic energy for transmission, another interesting Denis technological aspect. We suspect it uses some kind of transmission medium that can penetrate rock, which would make sense, of course. Maybe something like neutrinos as a carrier, very exotic and very difficult for us to dissect. The interviewer, but it's incapable of reaching surface distance? Laxman said, the Great Zero was the reference point and had to be accurate to an extremely high levels. But even so, the farther you travel, the less accuracy there is, because of the nature of the polar coordinate base that the Great Zero works on. So in close proximity to the Great Zero, sometimes the keys can be very accurate, but that doesn't mean that the Great Zero and keys are fully calibrated for distance measurement. The interviewer, forgive me if you touched on this already. What is needed to bring the Great Zero to full functionality? Laxman, simply put, more samples. The more samples we get, the greater the accuracy. It's not unlike surface-based GPS receivers. You need to keep them stationary, and they improve their locations by continuing to receive satellite samples. On a related note, we have noticed that we may be getting spurious data added to the valid calibration data. Unfortunately, the only way we know to clear that up is to a full restart of the Great Zero itself. We're still evaluating if that will be necessary. Another interviewer, Victor, you mentioned the primary lattice. What is the extent of purpose of the primary lattice, and is there a secondary, tertiary, etc.? How many levels are you aware of, and what do they each do? Laxman, the primary or prime lattice is just one of hundreds. We had described it as primary because it's the first one we restored. Our understanding of the system is that the more lattices that we bring online, the faster the processing will be. The work seems to be distributed among all working lattices. Another person asked, is the Great Zero powered by and or utilize any of the principles inherent in any of Nikola Tesla's studies? The Earth's natural or artificial ley lines and or sacred geometry? If so, then how exactly? Laxman replied, not really. Tesla was primarily involved with electromagnetic radiation. There is spurious electromagnetic radiation from the Great Zero, but it's only a side effect. The primary functions are not related to EM. With that said, it is entirely possible that the spurious electromagnetic radiation produced by the Great Zero has been picked up and interpreted by various cultures on the surface as natural energy from the Earth itself. Ley lines and effects may actually be nothing more than garbage from the Great Zero. Another person asked, you mentioned that the system was easy to upgrade quickly. My question is, did the Denis have any upgrades for the system in the works before the fall? If so, do you plan to finish or implement them? If so, to the second question, how will you finish or implement them? And Laxman's reply, we have found numerous upgrade plans for the key. The problem is that we're actually rewriting our own upgrades so we don't inadvertently add some not-so-safe functionality. It's easier to write our own code than try to revise their code. We do use their code to learn from, and it provides much of the instructions for us to upgrade our own. Another person asked, spurious data? Does that mean that there's a second zero somewhere else which is interfering, or just reflections from within the cave? Laxman replied, we're not sure what the source of the spurious signals is, but if the Great Zero is neutrino-based, we know that there are natural neutrino sources that send the particles from space through the Earth. It could simply be that background noise that we haven't quite figured out how to filter, but we have some ideas. And finally, someone asked, I suspect that the Denis elite may have been able to utilize the Great Zero to emit a specific signal, among others, that could cause disorientation and or unconsciousness in a key wearer in order to control the lower Denis citizens from things such as straying too far. Is there any truth to this, and could this function have contributed to Phil Henderson's accident, and or been why he may have removed his key before he disappeared? And the answer was, we've not seen any indication that the key or Great Zero can be used to produce this effect on people. The Denis elite were rather proud, it seems, but we don't think they had such devious control methods up their sleeves. If the key was meant to be used as a control device, then they would have distributed them to the lower classes first. But of course, if I knew we could control all you explorers with the key, I won't deny that I could. I would deny that I could, and then punish you for asking the question. Okay, and let's see, it is 1:45. That is where we are going to end today's tour, except that I have requested that Murphac take us outside so that you can run around and look at things. So if you can set up the on-lake effect, please, and take us out.
And Ethan, ever had a question?
Okay.
What is the semi-transparent material on the steps railing where the 0 dot is? Is it glass?
It's a viewer. It's a Denis viewer, so that means that there's going to be probably projector heads behind the image, and it's going to be floating just off the surface.
Aha.
In other words, think it's basically just like the viewers that you see in the residential neighborhoods.
Oh, great. One thing I think we should discuss briefly is the fact that the next cavern tour, which is always the fourth Saturday of the month, would be scheduled for Saturday, November 26th, which is right after Thanksgiving in the States. I don't know if people are going out of town or whatnot, so should we consider moving that or just keep it as is?
The thing is that we're doing this on the fourth Saturday is because that was the day that Murphac had free.
Yes.
So at this point, whoa,
and
we are now inside the pillars. So if it's the case that not enough people will be here, then it may well be that we should just go ahead and skip next month.
Just skip it, because I'm looking at our schedule and we will require Murphac services for the next tour.
Right. So yeah, at this point, I think it would probably be better to either do it or, as Yoda put it, do or do not.
Yes. So what is our decision? Do we want to make our decision right now that we're just going to skip it?
What are the other people?
Let's see how it plays out for right now, I guess. I know I'm going to be out for most end of November through most of December.
Yeah.
I will be traveling. I will be traveling that weekend, so I won't be around.
Okay, in that case, we will skip.
Well, and also, the December tour, being the fourth Saturday, would be on Christmas Eve day for us, and for the worldwide.
Yeah, that's not going to work for me either.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work for hardly anyone.
My family celebrates on Christmas Eve.
So we may be
We
going on a short hiatus until
yeah,
January.
until next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the meantime, of course, Larry, I'm speculating you'll be posting special tours on Twitch, maybe.
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
I'd have to see if there was a demand for me to do, or a request for me to do something in particular.
Okay. Does anyone have a request for Larry now? I'm sorry to put you on the spot, Larry, but I'm just, I'm a planner. I think ahead.
I do have one question. So the Grade Zero uses the neutrinos.
Hold on just one second.
Okay.
There's a question on the in the game, and no, that's not a waterfall. I mentioned that before. Those are neutrinos being collected and brought down into the device in order to concentrate and send through the beam.
So did the Dunning somehow, since the Dunning is below Earth, did somehow they were able to collect the neutrinos that come through the Earth to absorb it?
The tower that's invisible at the moment is a collector. It's basically drawing in the naturally occurring neutrinos that come from space and pass through the Earth.
Wow.
Rock is no barrier to them, neither are you. And that and for that, they're being you can see that the neutrino collection process becomes visible a short distance above, well, not so short, but visibly above the towers, and then they're drawn down through the center of the 9 pillars.
Wow.
Into the base, and then they are redirected somehow to the that device that sends them on their way as a coherent beam into the monument.
It would be interesting to know the Denis physics, or the physics that Denis used to bend the neutrino beam, since neutrinos don't react to anything.
Correct. That's and we know from what Victor Laxman said that it's not electromagnetism. So how they're collecting these very, very slippery particles and concentrating them is kind of mind-boggling, and I wish I knew what the theory was. Interacting with Twinkies?
Oh, I don't know if we have time for Murphac to warp us to the top of the antechamber where that red blinky light is.
Oh, you can run over there. Where it
okay.
This is an on-lake effect, so
Using
you can go
on-lake.
anywhere you want around here.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Did Murphac have a response to what he wants to do about the next 2 months? Or I guess, the 5 of us could discuss it privately after this tour, if you prefer.
Or by email. But like I said, at this point, I think that we should probably just go on hiatus until January for any official tours.
Yeah,
that's going to be the best way to get around all the traveling that's going to be done.
Yeah, and just I want to remind everyone, on Twitch, you can register to be notified by email whenever Larry goes live. That way, whenever Larry does post his special content, like he did with the fights tour, I forget the pronunciation.
Fights.
Just
call it High Garden.
High Garden. You can get an email notification that he's gone live, and you can watch it right then and there, or it's archived for 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to watch it on Twitch, and then he also posts it to YouTube. So it's easy to sign up for the email notifications when he goes live. Oh, it's only 1 week archive? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be longer if I were paying for it, but I can't afford that.
So I want to thank everyone for coming to the cavern tours. Larry and Arte for their historians, and for me and Susan being your host for the tours. Don't forget to join some of the other events happening in the cavern. I know about the karaoke and story night. You're free to add to that, Larry. But
And
also,
don't forget about Murphac.
and
I
then
couldn't do this without him.
And Mirfak, we couldn't do that without him. But also, don't forget to donate to the Cavacon, so that we can keep doing these tours for you, because it helps keep the cavern alive and money, so that we can keep giving you these beautiful tours.
Okay. If you look at the stream window, by the way, I brought up the calendar from the Guild of Messengers. So at 1 p.m., whatever that's supposed to be in key time.
1 p.m. is 11 key time. Eastern.
Well, no, it depends on
key time.
It depends on your time zone, and they get so I'm not quite sure how to interpret this.
That's
but
true.
Oh well. But they're having a thing with for the unwritten role playing game that's based loosely on or Arte Story Night.
Tell us about Story Night, Arte, please.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Tell us about your story night. Want to advertise your story night?
Sure. Tonight, let's see, last week we talked about the years between the end of the Kings and the beginning of the fall, focusing a lot of time on the Myst War. Tonight, we're going to talk about the culture that existed at the time of the fall, and regarding the class structure, marriage, pregnancy, maturity, all of that. And then we're going to talk about the beginnings of the first two characters of the fall. But I'm not going to tell you which one. You're just going to have to show up to find out.
And I believe that's at 1400 key time.
Correct.
And 2330 key time.
We meet at the fountain at 2330, or right, I'm sorry. We meet at the fountain at 1330 key time in Sano's Hood, with the story starting at 1400, and then at 2300 key time we meet at the fountain with the story starting at 2330 key time at night.
And then in between that, there is the karaoke show, which is held in the New Guild of Messengers pub, and that's going to be at 1600 key time. And that is what that is basically anyone who wants to can pre-record songs that they sing along with, or they sing in place of the real singer, and then submit them to a website, which is if you look at the stream window, I've got some of the details up right there. So it's Urukaraoke at board1985.com that you set up an account with, and you can submit your recordings. And then they play them for everyone every Saturday.
Any last minute questions? We have 2 minutes. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for coming. We really love having you here. These tours are great fun. Let's give a round of applause for Larry and Arte and Zeke and Murphak.
Okay. Anyway, that's it for today, so we will see you all again, it looks like in January, unless I get a request to do something special in between.
Like maybe a holiday show?
I don't know about a holiday show, but
Larry sings Christmas carols. How's that?
There you go. Yes. Larry, Larry,
Larry.
I did that for the karaoke show a few years ago, where I sang Silent Night in German.
Really? Oh, that's cool.
Sure did. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht, alles schläft, einsam wacht, nur das traute hochheilige Paar, holde Knabe im lockigen Haar, schlaf im himmlischer Ruhe, schlaf im himmlischer Ruhe.
Oh, thank you.
Very good.
Sehr gut. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. And I'm going
Take
to
care,
be
everyone.
cutting off the stream now, so thank you all for coming. See you